Hello and welcome to the Oddschecker betting show. This is your fifth and final glorious Goodwood preview. This is day 5, the Saturday of Goodwood. I'm your host, George Elek, and I'm joined by just one guest. We've lost Rory Delagi, but the good news is we've kept hold of Oddschecker's very own tipster, Andy Holding. Andy, great to have you here. Just the two of us today, but looking forward to a cracking day's racing on Saturday.
Certainly am, yeah. I'll do my best to fill the Sozable shoes of Rory. I think we tended to agree on the Friday as well, so we were kind of like dovetailed into one anyway, weren't we? Quite a few of our horses we fancied.
Yeah, exactly. We're recording this at 1 o'clock on Thursday. So if you haven't watched day 4 yet, Friday, and day 4 racing hasn't happened yet, you can find the podcast on any podcast provider, the Oddschecker Betting Show and the Oddschecker YouTube channel. Subscribe there and you can find the content there, because you and Rory both found some bets you were quite excited about, it's fair to say. So hopefully, if you're watching this after that's the case, they still look as smart as they sounded just now when we were recording. Before we get into the races themselves, just going to point the listener and the viewer, as ever, in the direction of the Oddschecker app for the last time this week. Do download the app so you can get the best place terms, bookie offers, free bets, and the best prices, most importantly, and also the best tipsters and these tips straight to the app at around 9 a.m. every morning. And we've done enough small talk before the podcast this week, Andy. So let's get straight into the action. And we're going to preview. I mean, this is, as I say, we're recording this early on Thursday afternoon, so the market's kind of reforming, so we can't go through the races chronologically as we wanted to, but we are going to start with the Thames Materials Handicap. I think it's the 7 furlong opener at 120 on Saturday, where we've got Quintilus is the 7-2 favourite ahead of Spirit of Bermuda at 9-2, Masters Ophany 13-2, Dark Shift 7-1, Ferrasi Lane, Just Frank and Oud Delali all 10-1, 14-1 bar. And just then off air, Andy said this wasn't necessarily a race that had you particularly exciting from a punting perspective.
No, normally with most of the races I look at, there's always a couple that jump out the page at me. This is not one of those races. I think Spirit of Bermuda is going to be the right favourite because she comes in cracking good form. She's won over the track as well. I think she won on debut here. So she ticks quite a lot of boxes, but with her, she's very much ground dependent. The last 2 wins have been on good to firm ground, and at time of recording, it's still good to soft. And as I said in the podcast for tomorrow, there's an appreciable amount of rain due to fall Thursday night into Friday morning, and that'll obviously determine what the going will be come Saturday. So it's very difficult to predict anyway what that ground will be like on race 1, and particularly when I haven't got a strong opinion on it, and the favourite one's good to firm, I'd probably just give that a body swerve.
So swerving the first race, so we'll get straight into the third race of the day, which is our next one that we're going to be previewing, and this is the Summer Handicap. Hopefully Andy can be a bit more bullish with his thoughts here, over mile 6, and we've got Nuit St George is the 5-1 favourite ahead of My Frankel at 6-1, Win O'Clock 8-1, Our Day is 10-1 with Bodyline, Prince Alex, Urban Artist, Future Investment and Onto Victory 14-1 bar. Andy, coming to you here for your thoughts on the Summer Handicap.
Yeah, Nuit St George has been a revelation for David Marnussier. He's been one of those horses that's improved really in the last sort of 12 months, and he's won his last 2 starts in really tidy fashion. He clocked a big number when he won here 2 starts ago, fending off a good field from the front, and then he employed the similar tactics next time out at Salisbury. Similar track, switchback track, got a breather at the top bend and kicked and never looked like getting caught. There's a horse called Master Millionaire that day, trained by Emily Vellard, won in a fast time at the course and over the course and distance at the Wiltshire venue. Well beaten that day. Was sent off 6-4 favourite, and that couldn't lay a glove on this horse. So I think he's definitely the one to beat. And he's bound to go from the front, so you know what you're going to get with him. Of the rest, the ground's very important to a horse I quite like. A horse called Adei, trained by Simon Ed Crisford. He beat a nice horse of Dave Simcox at Newmarket 3 runs ago, who's won since. Rodrigo Diaz, yes, decent assist there from you, George. Thank you. And then he ran at Royal Ascot, and albeit he coped with the ground heavy on the day when he was 5th behind Quickthorn, I genuinely got the feeling he didn't really enjoy it. They then dropped him back down in trip at York for the John Smiths because it was a big pot. And he just got into a horrible track position. He got a terrible draw. He turned in probably with only 1 or 2 behind him, but he charged home up the far side of the track to finish never near a 7th, and he got beat 4 lengths. And he went into my notebook as a horse perhaps that would do well if they perhaps ran him in the Ebor, because obviously he's run well over the track. Whether he'll get into the Ebor off a mark of 100, only time will tell. But he's coming here with a view to trying the trick for the first time. If he was to run well and win this race, then I think he would get into the Ebor. But he's an interesting runner a day. I think he's got a bucket load of talent, and you can definitely scratch his last 2 runs on account of ground and trip and just track position last time out. So his form figures are 5-7. He's probably better than that. So at the prices, I'd probably be prepared to roll the dice with him because I think he's got a touch of class and he's unexposed.
Odd a 10-1 best price with Paddy Power and Betfair Sportsbook, who are both 4 places as it stands. You can get 5 places 9-1 with Sky Bet, and Luis and George, the other one, a positive mention from Andy, who's 5-1 with most firms. On then to the Lillie Langtry, where Wonderful Tonight is the 4-5 favourite ahead of Alba Flora at 11-2. 10-1 Believe in Love, Divinely and Tribal Craft, both 14-1. Golden Pass 16s, Cabaletta 20-1, 22-1, both Tracia and Makawi. And the 4-5 about Wonderful Tonight, does that look like a price you're happy to side with, or are you looking to get against Wonderful Tonight in some way?
No, it's probably a race I'd probably quite happily just watch and enjoy and sit back and hopefully appreciate the talent that is Wonderful Tonight, because for my money, she's probably one of the most improved horses in training. David Marnussi has done a fantastic job with her. I think he knows what he's got. I think he's very protective of her in the sense he didn't run her in the King George. He only wants to run her when conditions are in her favour. I don't think he needs to be running her where he shouldn't be. And luckily for him, he's going to have some cut in the ground by the looks of it, given the forecast come Thursday evening into Friday, which is under those conditions, she's hardly ever been beaten. She was very good when she won the Group 1 at Longchamp last season. Rounded off the season by winning the Fillies and Mares race at Ascot on Kipco Champions Day. And then, considering she wasn't 100% fit, according to all reports and listening to David Marnussi's post-race interview, the way that she won the Hardwick Stakes at Royal Ascot was something to behold, because she was very keen and fresh early on, and yet she still had the qualities to beat a high-class field in a very fast time. And if you look at the way the race has panned out subsequently, it suggests that she probably put in very close to a career high. She beat Hookham in third, who's won since. Alba Flora, of course, went in there off the back of a good course and distance victory. Japan was 6, has won since. Sir Ron Priestley's won since, the 7th horse. So it's a high-class piece of form, and David Marnussi trains down the road. So with regard to suitability to get into the track, she hasn't got to travel too far. So I just can't see her getting beat. For those that like to play at 4-5 and are in inverted commas heavy hitters, I think this is the one for you Saturday. And I just can't find another bet in the race.
Easy as that. 4-5, Wonderful Tonight. Maybe a shade of value. Nothing to get too excited about, but can't find anything to beat it. We're going to be rattling through the day's racing at this rate, and the next race we're going to be covering is the Stewards Cup. Plenty to get our teeth into here, and we've got Fresh is the 8-1 favourite ahead of Hurricane Ivor at 9-1. Comanche Falls 14-1. With Eshtilab and Chief of Chiefs and Chill as well. Bielsa 16-1 with Miras, Atlantis Boy and Zarzini and Summerhand as well, and Punchbowl Flyer, I should say, 20-1 bar. Plenty of familiar old stalwarts here in the Stewards Cup, Andy. How do you see it going?
Well, having put up Fresh to win the Wokingham at Ascot, of course, similar race to this, I'm obviously drawn in like a moth to a light bulb here with Fresh again. James Fanshaw's won this race before with a similar type, lightly raced, improving handicapper. And given the comparative times for the Wokingham alongside the Golden Jubilee, that handicap worked out almost pretty much like for like. So Fresh has obviously run to a pretty high standard, at least up to pattern class, i.e. listed or Group 3. Therefore, off a mark of 99, theoretically still well treated. Thought Rohan, who beat him that day, ran a very good race on unsuitable ground in the July Cup. So there's nothing wrong with the form. The draw has only just come through because it was a balloted draw. Sorry, a race where they chose rather than a balloted draw. I think he's been drawn, or the connections have picked right down the middle in stall 15 or 16, which could mean that Kieran Schumacher could go either side depending on which way he sees fit. But either way, I think Fresh has definitely got the strongest form claims. And if the price is right enough on the day and holds up, I'd be half interested in going with him again, because I think he's still got more to come. And the other one I'd be interested in, only if the ground dried out, would be Great Ambassador, who would definitely need nothing worse than good. I think it was good to soft. His chances would decrease, but because it's difficult to predict what the ground's going to be like. But he's a very talented horse. He didn't get the race run to suit last time out at Newmarket, but prior to that, he clocked a big number when winning at Kempton. But he's very much been laid out for this race by Ed Walker, and he's sort of 20-1 with William Butte booked. I think that could be a slightly overpriced, but only if conditions were good or quicker on the day would he be a possibility for myself.
Yeah, Great Ambassador 20-1 with Bet Victor and Betfred at the moment, but Fresh getting the most positive right up there from Andy, 8-1 with Bet365 best price at the moment. We can't cover the Stewards Cup consolation race in much detail because prices aren't out. But Andy, anything in there that's the 155, the second race of the day. Anything in there that you want to just kind of flag up at this stage?
Yeah, I'll flag up Treacherous, who won this race last year for Ed de Giles. He's got an amazing record at Goodwood, this horse. And he'd won there early on in the season, and he beat the Lamplighter, and of course he went back and repeated the dose a couple of months later. His season this year has been a little bit staccato, albeit he did run well 2 runs ago at Doncaster. Lincolnfield didn't pan out for him too much last time out, but that was on the all weather. But back on turf, back at his beloved Goodwood, again another one that's drawn right down the middle. Which gives Ross Orion options. I'd be keen to have a look at him if he was a suitable price come Saturday.
Price is just out. What would you be hoping for Treacherous? Hills have just come out.
I think in his current form, he'd probably be 14, 16-1.
No, you're in the right game, Andy. 16-1, bang on.
Okay.
Happy with that?
Yeah. It's a price that I was sort of predicting he would be. So. Of course, we're all greedy and we want a bit more, but I think that's about the right price for the way he's running. But I think on top of that, you've got to factor in he's such a Goodwood specialist, so he's slightly on the big side, given his track form.
Well, yeah, Treacherous 16-1, the pick for Andy in the 155. That is the Unibet Stewards Sprint Handicap, the consolation prize for the Stewards Cup. Just 2 more races on the card and no prices, Andy, in this very slimmed down preview of the Saturday racing, given that it's just you and I chatting and the prices themselves are all pretty fresh out. We've got the Maiden, where only a couple have run before, I think, a couple with some credit, and then the last race of the day is the Signature Apprentice Handicap. So maybe not 2 of the best races to preview in detail, but anything you can just point out to the viewers and listeners here.
Yeah, I'd suggest that HMS President could be worth a look in the Apprentice Handicap, ridden by George Elek, who rode this horse last time out at Windsor. But that Windsor third behind Strawberry Walk has worked out incredibly well. Obviously, I'm a time figure man, and I've been keen to get with the form. If you remember, I put up Alfred Boucher of Henry Candy's out of that race at Ascot last week, who duly obliged, and HMS President was only just behind Henry Candy's charge. We've also seen the 5th horse, Dark Jedi, win out of that race as well. So it has begun to work out as well as this time figure suggested it might. Obviously, Eve Johnson Horton likes winners at this meeting, as does the owner, Henry Ponsonby. Cheek pieces on for the first time. again, I'll be sniffing around for prices about that one come Saturday.
HMS President there, the one to look out for in the 4:45, the final race of Glorious Goodwood. And that brings us to a close for our preview as well. So thank you very much to Andy for joining me today. Andy, hopefully you're rewarded with some winners over the course of Friday and Saturday. If you haven't watched Fridays yet, Rory Delagi joined Andy and myself giving his thoughts too. So do go and check that out either on the Oddschecker YouTube page or as a podcast on the Oddschecker betting show, where you'll find it there. Fingers crossed we've given some winners. Do download the Oddschecker app. It's so important if you are backing these selections because it means you get the best prices for your bet. You can see the best place terms. If you're opening a new account, you'll get some free bets or a bookie offer as well on top of that. And every morning, if you like what Andy's had to say, and of course you do, you'll find his tips every morning, 9 a.m, straight to the Oddschecker app as well. Fingers crossed for some winners. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back very soon with more preview content as well. Enjoy the racing and please make sure that you gamble responsibly.